Hello everyone, you're listening to week 22 of Monday Night Chats with Dazz, and it is Monday, March 5th, 2018. It's hard for me to fathom that we're 3 months into 2018. And let me check in the chat and put it up on the screen. I see Nick C's here, and hi Nick C. How are you? It's been a pretty busy week in general with school and all, and originally I had to change things up a bit. Hi Craig. I was going to have Craig on to talk about the Bible changes, but with it being such a busy time for me, I decided to push it back. And for those that come into the chat later or who are listening at the moment, I'm not keeping count of how many people are listening. I won't be doing a stream next Monday, but the Monday after that, I plan to resume. So there won't be a stream next week. And I see Nick said that I'm great and same a lot of work, can't wait till I'm done. I know the feeling. College really does keep you very busy. Hi, God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God. How are you? And I see Craig Addison, I'm okay with giving people a rest on all of this. And I'm guessing you're referring to the Bible changes. I mean, I am interested to hear, and I think others are interested to hear. It's just this week in general for me has just been way too hectic, and I want to be able to give you the utmost attention on the issue. So that's why I pushed it back. And I see that God is the Alpha and Omega. Children of God said, great, dazzling one. Love you, lady. And she has a bunch of bouquets of flowers. Thanks. This is sort of a Q&A session. I didn't really label it that way. And I think I forgot to share the link on Facebook. So some of the usual listeners probably are unaware right now that it's going. But if you guys have like any questions or comments or anything on any videos that have been posted like in the last few weeks, we can bring up topics from that. And I see God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God is saying, good luck at school. Thank you. And really fast, I'm still looking at the chat, but I'm also trying to see if I can share this stream so that way. Hi, Andrew C. And I see that Craig Addis said, you have had me on sharing quite a bit this past few weeks, so I totally understand how hectic school and life is. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty hectic. Oh, whoa, the screen share. I'm just looking at it now, and I realize that something's wrong with it. Just a second. I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to figure out how to fix this problem. All right, let me see if I can fix this screen share, because it's not showing the screen that I actually want it to show. All right, let me see if it works better now. Are you guys able to see the chat on screen now? I hope so, but no, I just see. Okay, I see the chat is on screen now. And hi, Niels. Okay, and I see that Nixie said Andrew wants to know how tall you are. And Andrew said, LOL, no, I don't, Nick. Okay, well, regardless of which one of you wants to know how tall I am, I'm 5'5", if that matters to anyone out there. Or 5'5" feet, sorry, not inches. I think that would be 65. And I see that God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God said, I loved your nightmare videos. I suffer nightly. I'm sorry to hear that you suffer nightly, but I'm glad that the videos were of help to you. Just the whole concept of nightmares. And I know last week was the dream stream, and we kind of talked about other stuff outside of dreams. But just the idea that nightmares are actually a visitation, not just a experience within your head. I think that's something that is obviously considered very superstitious, but I wish that there was more like thought on it in today's world. And I see that. Okay, so I don't see any new questions or comments. I see you guys are just replying back to other things, but when it comes to nightmares, I definitely just find all of it very interesting. And even I'm looking back even like at my own past and realizing how so much of my life has been like nightmares like throughout childhood, and how I took it just to be that I was one of those unfortunate people that had tons of bad dreams, just was cursed with bad dreams. But now I'm realizing it's something that is spiritual in nature, and I'm glad to realize that, because I feel like a lot of us can comprehend that sleep paralysis is spiritual, that astral projection is spiritual, and that if you wake up and you see some weird thing in your room, that's spiritual. But the idea that a bad dream is spiritual, it is kind of weird, because we're taught that it's all coming from your brain. Andrew C. said, have you seen the squad of UFOs that Fox News caught days ago? I actually have not. I can actually look that up and see about it. And hi, Aeon Cage. Let me look it up real fast and see if I can put it on screen. So, Fox News UFO. All right, and let me see if I can find the story. I see something from February 19th, 2018, and Daily Star has never seen before swirling lights captured on live TV, but it's not from Fox. I don't know why I'm getting like such old news stories when I put this in Google. I'm getting stuff from like November. That's interesting though, but I believe you there. It's just, okay, bizarre research paper explores threat of alien galactic cyber attack. No, that was from 5 days ago. Is it this one about the organ craft, I wonder? And I see that Nixie said Fox 6 from Milwaukee. Okay, that helps. I was looking at just like general Fox News for UFOs. Okay, I see this is from 5 days ago, and actually it might help if we just looked at the video. Sorry guys, I keep clicking in and out, and there was a video on the screen and I just clicked out of it. And now my screen is stuck, I think. Let me see if I can just do this again. Okay. And since screen share is on, I'll just try to make this as large as possible.
Are those fireworks? What is that? Aliens? I don't know.
What the heck
What
is
is that? You see it, right?
I'm actually, yes,
Okay.
I do see it.
Okay.
It's getting weirder by the second.
I know.
It's like they're sticking around.
We're gonna do some
Anybody?
digging and figure out what that is. Back in a moment.
That was really interesting, and that was pretty strange. I mean, I'm of the belief that, UFOs can either be Project Bluebeam experimentation or some kind of paranormal manifestation, which would link back to fallen angels. But either way, it does push forward the whole alien agenda. And looking back in the chat here, I see that Craig Gaddis said I guess he's replying to something I asked him in the email, and he said, yes, Kat has never been on someone else's hangouts that I have ever heard of. I would probably have known this. She does have her hands full and is persecuted for speaking the truth. And that's in relation to me wanting to get her on air to talk about Bible changes in the future. And I see that Andrew C. was informing me that was only about 30 seconds or so, the video. And hi first, last. And Craig Gaddis said, it's a flock of seagulls, LOL. And Nick C. said the resolution doesn't do it justice. There was a lot. I mean, it was kind of poor resolution, but it was interesting if you really zoom in on it. And first last says, lay back, relax, and get comfy. Andrew C. said, seagulls don't glow and disappear. Hi, Stewie May. And hi, Understanding Conspiracy. And I see that he said, saw this on KJ's video earlier. I've seen something like this with my own eyes over Lincoln City, UK in 2013. Terrifying when you see it with your own eyes. I bet it's terrifying to see with your own eyes. I mean, I remember where I lived, there were ufologists that came to the area because some people had seen unidentified flying objects and they set up camp. It was back in 2013 as well. And I was like ecstatic because nothing ever happens where I live. And I was like, oh wow, there's UFO sightings. And this was before I got into doing videos and all, but I'm gonna have to watch that video by KJ because I see that Nick C is saying scariest movie ever's video was crazy. I bet it was. I mean, he makes some really interesting videos and he gets a lot of interesting clips and articles to provide evidence of the craziness that's going on in this world. Craig Gaddis said, that is why the mainstream narrative came up with flock of seagulls. How dumb do they think we are? Andrew C. said, you can watch the HD resolution on the channel On Point Preparedness, 30 seconds. You need to see it. It's 72 or 1080 resolution. And God is the Alpha and the Omega, Children of God said, what if it's the fallen ones? I'm definitely thinking it's the fallen ones. And let me pull that up from On Point Preparedness channel really fast. I just have to. Okay. Is it his most recent video of the UFOs, guys, that you're talking about? I'll wait for one of you to answer in the chat. And I see that Nick C said maybe Revelation 12. That would be really interesting if that was Revelation 12 being fulfilled, the war in heaven and the angels coming down. And I see that Nick C said, yep. So let me go to his most recent video and see if we can find that.
Lights, camera, ready for that action. It's a look. Don't you see it? 'Cause baby, it's a look.
The non-skippable ads. I'm just gonna.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
Oh, you can.
Yes, I can.
Oh, you can.
Yes, I can.
Oh, you can.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Anything you can do, I can do. I can do. Anything you can do, I can do. I can do. Anything you can do, I can do. I can do. Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything I can do. Anything I can do. Anything I can do. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything. I can do anything. I can do anything better than you. I can do anything.
Oh wait, I see that. I see that. Andrew C says a different one. I was wondering. I was like, where's the clip at? But I should have been paying more attention to the chat. Do you know which one it is or what it's called? I mean, it was interesting for sure. All of the scenes, I mean, of the Vatican and all the Satanism that's going on. And I see in the chat, Understand Conspiracy said it seems like they swim through the air like a fish in the sea, so it does seem like they're conscious in some way. It really does. I mean, the way they move is so fluid, and we think of angels often, I think of them as being beings of light. First Last said apparently there is an Illuminati card game card that depicts that swarm in the air. Really? If you know the name of the card, then tell me the name, or if you can put a link in the chat. I'm not sure if it'll work or not, because I've had people try to send the link, or you can email me the link. But Craig Gaddis said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's very true. And Stewie May said, I remember about 5 years ago, a very, very fast bright light shooting across the sky, not a meteorite. I believe most UFO are high-tech military crafts. And that's the other theory, is that they're high-tech military crafts. And I do think that the military does have their own versions of unidentified flying objects that they build and all. But when it comes to some of these lights, I just tend to think it's supernatural. But I definitely think there is the possibility of it being government aircrafts as well. And I see Andrew C. said it was one of the last videos he posted. Let me go back to his channel real quick and see if I can find it. Oh, right here, the veil is being lifted. Strange things in the heavens. All right. This is the right video.
Are those fireworks? What's that? Aliens? I don't know.
What the heck
What
is
is that? You see it,
I'm
right?
actually, yes,
Okay.
I do see it.
Okay.
It's getting weirder by the second.
I know.
We're sticking around.
We're gonna do some
Anybody?
digging and figure out what that is. Back in a moment.
Okay, and let me close this for now. And I see that First Last said that the card is called Play of Demons. I think I know which card you're talking about now from the card game, because I remember that one. It was very interesting. Actually, all of those demons in the sky, I mean, if you equate them to lights, it could be easily that. And just zooming in on this, I'm just like reading what the cards say. Disaster. This is an instant attack to destroy any place except a huge one. You must spend an action from a magic group. The power of the attack is 10 plus. The power of the group summoning the demons. If the attack succeeds, the target is devastated. If the die roll succeed by more than 5, the target is completely destroyed. Alternatively, spend the card for 10 plus to destroy any magic group. But it is interesting, though, because the Illuminati card game has predicted a lot of weird events, and that does seem to be pretty strange. I mean, it does kind of lend credence to the whole Revelation 12 thing. It could be government crafts, it could be Project Bluebeam, but that is weird. And the date of all of this happening, it seems, was 5 days ago, which would put it on March 1st or like February 28th or so, which kind of falls around the date of Purim, which is a Hebrew holiday. And let me look back in the chat really fast, because I keep like skipping around. I'll read you guys' comments. Craig Gaddis said, I'm learning just mostly in past 2 years. People are helping me as well. And I believe he's replying to some of you guys in the chat. Stewie May was like, oh my god, that bear face. Nick C said it's called The Bell is Being Lifted, and I see he was giving me the name of the video. Niels Addison said all-star activity like that is fallen ones or simply government testing out 3D tech in the skies. I mean, it could easily be that as well, Niels. Craig Gaddis said, God is great and God is good, is what I used to say, and as a blessing before dinner growing up, and I said it because it was fast and we could eat sooner, even though it's the truth. Yeah, some people do rush through the praying for their food because they want to eat. Stewie May said, I do believe some are interdimensional beings as well. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God, is replying to Craig. And hi, Ragil Realm, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your first part of your screen name wrong, but their question was, what would be your opinion on someone looking to study and become an exorcist? As far as exorcists go, I'm not a big fan of being an exorcist, at least from the Catholic standpoint, because I think a lot of Catholicism is tied to some pagan religions, and Catholicism is universal. But if you want to learn to be like a deliverance minister and cast out demons, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just have to really study the word, know it, and be prepared, because when you start trying to cast out demons, they will come for you. And you just have to make sure that everything's clear. Because one thing I've seen, at least in stories I've heard from different people who have been deliverance ministers, is when you go to deliver people, sometimes the demons will broadcast your business. It's kind of like even what we see on exorcist films when they're going to cast out the demon, and then the demon starts talking through the individual and telling them all the disgusting stuff or their dark secrets or their dark thoughts. So that is something to be mindful of. But I see Malibu Beats popped in and he said Project Bluebeam. Hi Roused, and also hi Gigi. And Ragil Realm said, and the stars will fall from heavens, Revelations told us. I agree with you. And Craig Gaddis said, if you use someone's name in a reply, Dazz will not read it, thinking it's personal, but I am sharing with all. And First Lasset may be tied to gun control, destruction of the Second Amendment, just throwing ideas out there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, with the whole gun control thing, and I know we're kind of just jumping topics since there's no big topic. They're definitely using this last shooting, especially, even though there was another one on a university campus in Michigan. They're using the children this time to really make headway with the gun control, because from what I'm hearing from other truthers, a lot of kids are flagging these videos for cyberbullying, and everyone's praising these kids for being heroes because they're trying to cross these partisan boundaries to get something done. And they're old enough to understand politics and to do something about guns, per se, but they're young enough where if you are too critical of them, then you're considered like a mean bully to them. So they're definitely using this situation as a way to get gun control pushed. And just the whole debate over guns, and then over raising the age to 21 for ownership, and then even talking about mental health. It's just all one big mess. And honestly, it really does make me wonder if they'll manage to get what they want with this, or if it'll fizzle out and they'll have to do some other kind of tragedy to get the gun control rolling. But those are just my general thoughts on it. First Last. And Rao said that would be a very basic light show comparing technology. First Last said Trump flipping the scripts. And in what way is he flipping the script? Just out of curiosity, I haven't kept up with Trump's most recent remarks. Stewie May said, I did a video on Boston Bomb and Illuminati card with the green jogger. I deleted it, but still somewhere on YouTube. That jogger from the Illuminati card game and the actual jogger from a news story, it's interesting to see how life imitates art. And Niels Otteson said, Plague of Demons by 5G. The 5G does seem like it's rolling out in that timely manner, just in time as these sightings are being seen of these entities in the sky. Andrew C. said, reminds me of Ephesians 6:12 and 2 Thessalonians 2 and 10 through 12. I remember Ephesians 6:12. 2 Thessalonians 2:10 through 12 is a scripture I'll have to look up really fast. Forget I'm not using my laptop where I'm already in the Chrome browser. So it's 2 Thessalonians. I cannot spell. 2:10 through 12, I believe. Okay. So 2 Thessalonians 2:10 through 12 says, "And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness." And I agree, it does sound like that. The strong delusion. And I see that Regil Realm said, yeah, non-Catholic, but like when Yeshua delivered demons. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think casting out demons and being a deliverance minister, that's some people's calling that God calls into. And if you feel Him pushing you in that direction, studying the Word up and studying others who have done deliverance is the most helpful way of really doing it. Craig Anna said, how are they able to change things like movie lines and old VHS tapes, quantum entanglement? I've never heard of quantum entanglement, Craig. I've heard of quantum mechanics. Stewie May said, search YouTube for the video. The game has changed. Boston Bomber in plain sight. Alright. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to highlight this real fast to see if I can pull that video up really fast. I'm not seeing it come up right away because I'm seeing like ABC Action News. I wonder if they try to... Is it... This is the video. Is this your video? Let me see. Let me check the chat. I'm guessing that's your video, but I just want to be sure. And I see it's 3 minutes long. Alright, I think this is the video.
The very word secrecy is repugnant.
I'm going to skip around just because it's kind of long. But we can watch some of it. We have time.
There's gotta be peace and burn up.
That was a very interesting video, though. But, when it comes to that Illuminati card game, there is just too much coincidences for it to just be some random game that was put out by a company years before all of these events took place. And I see Craig Gaddis said, they're trying to remove our First and Second Amendment rights, freedom of speech, truth, and guns to protect ourselves from martial law and go along with being chipped. I can agree with you on that, Craig. Nils Otteson said, CERN's opening the pit in 2008 to these spirits have been influencing our world for 10 years now. We all have seen big changes the last 10 years, not recognizable from before. I mean, I'm with you on that. It does seem like when I look back at the years prior to 2008, that things were a lot different. Just even the way people viewed the world. And I understand that a lot can change in 10 years, but it does seem like there has been a lot of strange incidents. And I find that just very interesting now that I'm thinking about it. I see that Craig Gaddis said he'll be right back. First Last said, he's all for gun control now, siding with the Dems. Dianne Feinstein laughing and rubbing her hands together with Trump. Interesting that Trump sided with them. I mean, I always say this every stream and any chance I get. I'm not a Democrat or Republican, not a conservative or liberal. My views fall somewhere in between, and I understand that when it comes to modern American politics, that they're basically upholding the same system, just getting us to pick which side we're on. And I'm not too shocked that Trump is siding with the Democrats on this issue because they're using the children as a way to really make this policy happen. Whereas beforehand, the kids in Sandy Hook, they were too young to be conscious of what happened to them. All they could do was put out a bunch of upset parents. And it seems like now this is the time that they're really going to push for it. And Understand Conspiracy said in Italy, I believe a center-right party called the Five Star Movement just won the election with a third of the vote, and another third went to another far-right party. They vowed to end immigration. That's very interesting that that's happening over in Italy and in Europe. I mean, the whole migration crisis and all is really just, it's really something that seems to be changing the landscape of Europe. And really, you guys' politics right now do matter for the future of Europe. Christy Taylor said, this last shooting that happened in Florida, I had a kind of premonition about that day. There was definitely something about it. I think it was the start of something. That's very interesting. I mean, what you're describing, Christy, it was on Valentine's Day, Lupercalia, a ritualistic day that the Catholic Church came and changed to Valentine's Day and used St. Valentine's as the cover for that day. So, in a way, whether you believe it was a hoax or you believe that it actually happened, blood was shed, whether literally or symbolically, on that day. And I believe that's no coincidence. Dazz, the Alpha and the Omega, Children of God said, sorry, Dazzling One texting, fam, lol. It's okay, guys. I mean, do what you have to do. Andrew C. said, whoops, I think it was 9 to 10, but thanks for looking at the rest, lol. Understanding Conspiracy said that this means that the left-wing politics, which saw the mass migration of Islam into Europe through Italy by the globalist European Union, is over. Major changes are coming, it seems. I mean, from what you're describing that happened in Italy with the elections, it does seem that that is what's transpiring. Craig Gaddis said, go look at old VHS tapes and see what Forrest Gump says now. Now says life was like a box of chocolates. We used to say life is like a box of chocolates. I actually did a video. It was like really short on the Mandela effect. And I actually had the clip in there. And it's interesting. I was blown away by how that had changed. And I see Craig Gaddis is also making reference to Luke, I am your father now, says, no, I am your father. I've seen that reference too. And Craig Gaddis said they martial law the entire city of Boston, apparently looking for the bombers, martial law test to see how people react and respond. I remember all that back in 2013. Nixie said, how do you feel about cops? I'm thinking about becoming one, but I don't want to get shot because of spread hatred. Not to change the subject. When it comes to like being a part of law enforcement, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with any profession, as long as it's not something really immoral or anything, but there is a lot of backlash against cops today because of all of, the social justice politics. And I would pray, about being a cop if that's the path. And I believe if that's the path for you, he'll protect you in it. But I mean, I can see why you're concerned at the moment. I know some people in my college who are like criminal justice majors and they want to become cops. And they are really concerned about kind of the climate towards cops at the moment. But I see First Last said police are owned and operated by the brotherhoods. And I mean, I have heard the stories of like the connections to those types of groups, and I think almost any profession is bought out by them, especially the higher up you get. But I think that most general everyday cops aren't necessarily, they're probably just regular people, is what I'm saying. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God is replying to Nick C. Craig Gaddis said, I pray real good cops will not go along with martial law and react like decent human beings. Respect it, the rights of the people. I agree with you. I mean, if we have more people who become cops that have good morals, hopefully when martial law happens, they can go against it or possibly lose their badge. Gigi said, I think they need to go back to the good old days when you had to show respect and couldn't cuss out a police officer. I mean, it is crazy to me how like people do cuss out police officers and just in general. I mean, people are a lot less fearless about talking to anyone in authority. Even teachers today get talked to certain ways. Used to be you couldn't disrespect your parents, but now you have kids who rule over their parents. So we do live in different times for sure. Stewie May said that was the start of my awakening 4 years ago. And I'm guessing that's in relation to the Boston bombings Illuminati card game. Rouse is replying to Nick C. And Stewie May said I'm on Jesus' side. Andrew C. said, I guess we're having a criminal justice class now. And I see Andrew C. is saying the job of a police officer itself isn't bad at all. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. Stewie May said they had deepfake tech in 2018 years ago. I mean, I can believe you there. When it comes to, like, the technology they're showing us, even all of this artificial intelligence, it all probably was around, like, that long ago or even longer ago. And I can't remember if it was Kathy O'Brien, but someone said, who I believe was, like, an ex-monarch slave, that technology is behind about 20 years from what we get. So they probably had deep fake tech back then, and it's crazy to think now that it's being brought to the general public. And to me, it really is concerning, deep fake technology, because while I think it's cool that people can like phase other people's faces on things, if someone wants to blackmail someone, they can do it, and entire careers could be run. Like, imagine applying for a job and then you don't get hired. You find out that the reason they didn't hire you is because there's some porno of you out there and you never participated in pornography and someone who hated you did that. I mean, I think like that, and that in itself is bad. And all it takes is someone who's savvy enough with the type of technology, and they can run people's lives and blackmail them to do whatever they want. And I think this is going to be calls for new laws. And it's just crazy how, as technology advances, we have to advance policies and laws to fit it. But can we really trust a lot of these crooked politicians and lawmakers to do so? And sorry guys, every time I go up to the chat, I like something happens and it scrolls all the way back up. And I see a lot of people are replying to Nick C about wanting to become a police officer. And I see that Craig Gaddis said the higher-ups in the police force throughout our country are run by Freemasons who worship Lucifer, the devil. I mean, I've heard that, and if you look at the star badge, it does kind of lend credence to that. But then so many things within American society are based on paganism. That's why, like, I get so, in a way, annoyed now. I used to be one of those people, though, that believed, like, America was a Christian nation. I believed it. I didn't think otherwise. And I live in a really conservative area, and I went to church every Sunday, and it was in God we trust. But then once I start learning a lot about this stuff, I realize how much that a lot of the people that came here and settled, while they may have been Christians, a lot of those who held the power, who were the founders and politicians of the time, were deistic into paganism. So a lot of America, even the geography, is modeled after ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, Babylonian religions. I think America is an amalgamation of empires. And that's why even in things like the court system, they're wearing black robes and they're judging you and sentencing you. That's why police have to wear these pentagram badges. And it's just crazy when you think about it all. Nick C said, okay, subject this topic too elite for some, I guess. Oh, okay, change subject. This topic is too late for some, I guess. And Understand Conspiracy said, we need good people in the police force, but I don't think we're in a time where this is so anymore. I remember in the film Clockwork Orange, the main psychopath left prison to find that his old gang members became cops, despite their horrific past. Maybe that was a hint at the future state of the police, as the film was set in the modern day, but written in the 70s. And that could have very well been, Paul. It seems like you look back at these films and they're just telling us what was going to happen 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And it does seem like you do have a lot of cops that are bought out or are corrupt. But I also think there are those that are decent human beings. And I think in almost any area, especially where there's more power wielded to them, that you're going to find crookeder people, because psychopaths tend to assume higher positions within society, and those who are more empathetic tend to have probably lower, more service type jobs. And that's the scary part, is you have more psychopaths as politicians, as doctors, as lawyers, with all this power and money to make decisions for everyone. And then you have a lot of people that are just very regular people or empathetic people who, they're just doing everyday jobs with little influence. And I see, hi Edward Tam, and Rao said, to think the way people were hurt, though, is not seeing the complete picture. I can't fathom what else happened that day we don't know about. And maybe I'm not remembering exactly, Rouse, but people hurt in what incident? Sorry, we've been jumping topics so much. Are you talking back to what happened in Florida? And I see Nixie. I'm going to try it out and see how I feel, I think is what he said at the end. Yeah. Nixie said, I'm a Christian first, not a cop first. Andrew C. said, I remember years ago, me and Nick went to the FBI office in NYC, and right at the entrance, there was the Illuminati pyramid symbol right on the wall, and I believe a Freemason sign as well, but the job itself isn't bad. Yeah. I mean, you're going to find it everywhere, and Masonic lodges are everywhere. There's a Masonic lodge in my college town, and it's right by the law firm, so they're everywhere. And so many people we know are members of these types of groups. And I really think lower level workers really don't know as much as those with more power about this sort of stuff. Craig Gaddis said, why is our government giving military weapons and vehicles to local police forces around the country? Are they planning on something to go down? I mean, I definitely think that can be very well the case. I remember reading that the Pentagon gives a lot of their technology to police forces. And we really saw with the whole situation, Ferguson, how militarized the police were. And I believe, even with more people protesting Trump and his administration, and then those who are in support of, say, like the alt-right or white nationalism, and then the SJWs like Black Lives Matter and all these little groups, we're going to, if they, raise any type of ruckus, we're going to see more cops come out militarized. But we really saw that more so under the Obama administration. But I definitely think the cops are prepared to have martial law if anything were to go down. And speaking of that, this past Saturday, I heard some helicopters flying over my house, and I looked outside and I saw a military chopper. And I don't live near a military base. There was no Air Force show going on, and I was just kind of stunned by that. And then I heard the sound again, and I looked, and there was another one flying over my house a few minutes later, and then a third one. So I have seen some of those flying around, kind of weird, and I do wonder sometimes what is going down. And sorry, guys, I'm going to take a quick sip of water real quick because my mouth is getting dry, so I'm going to mute my mic. And I'll be right back. All right, everyone, I'm back to looking at the chat again, and Edward Tamas said it's just a big Monopoly game. And Craig Gaddis said, how did we not all really notice the pyramid on the back of the $1 bill with a mason making a Jewish star? Connect the dots. I mean, I agree with you. When you look at the dollar, there is all of that symbolism on it, and you definitely can trace it back to Freemasonry and even, Zionism. And understanding conspiracy saying we did notice. Craig Gaddis also said, or Rao said, yes, I was being careful on the words, LOL. And Craig Gaddis said, the truth and wabbit hunting is painful and sobering, but the truth, Jesus Christ, must be preached, or their blood could be on our hands, biblical. Stewie May said, Google the Colbert Report BitChute top link video. Don't believe your lying eyes. Okay. Let me see real fast. It seems like a night of looking up videos, which I don't mind doing for you guys at all. And then talking and discussing it. Let me see. It's on BitChute, so I actually like BitChute. It's a nice alternative. I've been hearing people talk about like DTube, and I made a Steam account, but I'm not very tech savvy yet on figuring how to upload videos to it. All right, guys, and I hope you can see this all on the screen.
Welcome, friends. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com. You will remember that a couple of weeks ago, James Evan Pilato and myself were discussing the new quote-unquote phenomenon of deep fake videos on New World Next Week.
Speaking of spotting BS, James, our second story on this jam-packed New World Next Week, episode 336, is called How to Spot a Deep Fake Video. Reddit, the aforementioned Reddit, has been making news again with another subreddit in which people use a machine learning tool called Deep Fake, which sure sounds a hell of a lot like Deep State, to automatically replace one person's face with another in the video.
Okay, so you will have seen that segment. If not, please go back and watch it. Link in the show notes as always. But long story short, this is about the quote-unquote new application that's available for people to swap people's faces out on videos. And as we talked about at the time, this isn't really groundbreakingly new technology that could never have been envisioned before. It's just that this is the first time it's really been widely available and spread online. And there was a subreddit and before it got banned and all of that kind of stuff. So it's widely available now. And as we talked about, it can be quite crude at times and easy to spot, but imagine how much better it is, what the Hollywood studios have, let alone what they have in the basement of the Pentagon. So we were talking about that, and I got an email in from a listener with a tip. Betty emailed this story from the MIT Technology Review from July 1st, 2000. Yes, 18 years ago. Can you believe 2000 is 18 years ago? Anyway, this is called Lying with Pixels. Seeing is no longer believing. The image you see on the evening news could well be a fake, a fabrication of fast new video manipulation technology. This was nearly 2 decades ago, and it's being discussed in the MIT Technology Review. Last year, Stephen Livingston, professor of political communication at George Washington University, astonished attendees at a conference on the geopolitical pros and cons of satellite imagery. He didn't produce evidence of new military mobilizations or global pandemics. Instead, he showed a video of figure skater Katarina Witt during a 1998 skating competition. In the clip, Witt gracefully plies the ice for about 20 seconds. Then came what is perhaps one of the most unusual sports replays ever seen. The background was the same. The camera movements were the same. In fact, the image was identical to the original in all ways, except for a rather important one. Witt had disappeared, along with all signs of her, such as shadows or plumes of ice flying from her skates. In their place was exactly what you would expect if Witt had never been there to begin with. The ice, the walls of the rink, and the crowd. And it goes on to say, what sets the Witt demo way apart is that the technology used to virtually delete the skater can now be applied in real time, live, even as a camera records a scene and instantly broadcasts it to viewers. In the fraction of a second between video frames, any person or object moving in the foreground can be edited out, and objects that aren't there can be edited in and made to look real. Pixel plasticity, Livingston calls it. The implication for those at the satellite imagery conference was sobering. Pictures from orbit may not necessarily be what the satellite's electronic camera actually recorded. So this goes on at some degree of detail talking about satellite imagery, but obviously the implications were there. And even if we were to say that, oh, well, this was pretty crude and perhaps it wasn't very advanced, well, again, this is nearly 2 decades ago now. So again, this deep fake phenomenon is just the very, very bottom level of the ladder when it comes to this technology. And it has been around for decades. And so I literally played a game with myself while reading this article. How long until we start hearing about the defense connections to this technology? And it wasn't very long at all. They talk about last spring and summer as Sport Vision and rivals such as Princeton Video Imaging, PVI, in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, were airing virtual insertion products, including simulated billboards on walls behind major league batters. A team of engineers from Sarnoff Corp in Princeton, New Jersey, flew to the Coalition Allied Operations Center of NATO's Operation Allied Force in Vicenza, in Italy. Their mission, transform their experimental video processing technology into an operational tool for rapidly locating and targeting Serbian military vehicles in Kosovo. The project was dubbed Tiger for targeting by image georegistration. Just dial in the coordinates and the thing goes, blah, blah, blah. So again, not very long before the intelligence connections to these technologies start to come in. No surprise coming, obviously, in the MIT Technology Review, talking about these universities that, of course, just engaged in research, heavily sponsored by the defense industry. And just for fun, I looked up PVI for their own, literally was the first thing I thought, okay, I'll just look that up and see how long it takes till I find the defense connections. The company was founded as Princeton Electronic Billboard in 1990 by Roy Rosser and Brown Williams, based on patents on match moving enhancements filed by Roy Rosser. Brown Williams had been a senior manager at David Sarnoff Research Center, which was the Sarnoff that was talked about working with NATO, and knew that they had developed advanced vision-based pattern recognition and tracking technology for various U.S. defense agencies. So again, obviously, the funding for these companies and the research they are doing, although it is done through the universities, is coming from the military. This is the way of laundering these projects. So I'll let you guys continue playing this game. Look for some of the other players, some of the people, some of the companies listed here. Can you dig up more connections to the defense industry? It literally took me under 1 minute to find my own example there with PVI Media Services. So I'm sure you will not be searching for very long. But at any rate, thank you very much, Betty, for sending this in. As I say, I know that this technology already exists. I know that it's much more complex than this deepfakes technology that's finally making its way to the public. Whatever we have is at least a couple of decades behind what the defense industry has been playing with. And here's just a in-your-face example of that. So thank you, Betty, for sending that in. And I'm interested in other examples of this type of technology. If people have other cookie crumbs on that trail. So please do send them in. And on another note, if you're watching this video on BemTube, you are supporting the beast. Please get off it. Go to corbettreport.com, go to DTube, go to BitChute, go to Minds.com, go to some other platforms to watch this and any other video. That's it for today. James Corbett, corbettreport.com.
Thank you, Stewie May, for recommending the video to be shared. And I'm checking back in the chat, guys. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit behind. I was just watching the video with you. And I'm one of those people that like to be quiet during the video rather than react to it. But I see that Niels Ottesen said the new police force are already flying and patrolling my skies every day. Here, look up Skelder. And I can look that up. I believe you sent me a video, Niels, and it might have been that. But I can look that up as well. And before I show the video, just to catch up on some of the comments, if my keyboard will let me type. All right, I'm gonna come right back to it just to see like what you guys have been saying so I don't get too far behind with it. But Andrew C. said some professors are Freemason. One of my criminal justice professors last semester had a loud and proud Freemason sign in his office. Like, wow. It's shocking how many people are actually a part of like these secret societies. Of course, many everyday people really don't see how demonic it really is. And this isn't an excuse for people to go join these things, but it happens. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God, said lawyers can buy cases all done for them by demonic spirits. A Satanist spoke that in the 1930s. He witnessed typewriters typing on their own. Wow. I want to know where you saw that video. That sounds very interesting. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God. Craig Gaddis said, I feel Europe will fall easier to the NWO. Isn't all of Europe today having unarmed civilians? It does seem like many countries within Europe do have gun control laws. Edward Tam said it's not weird. They're doing their job. Understand Conspiracy said most Freemasons, and I just went far away from that. I'm sorry, guys. Think they are just a part of a charity day center for old influential retirees. Sad, really. Yeah, I mean, that's the average Freemason out there. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God, said you can check out the video on YouTube, The Vigilant One. It's a 3-hour plus interview with an ex-Satanist. That sounds very interesting. If we had 3 hours to spare and we all could sit very still, I'd put it on the screen. Niels Ottesen said Skelder is AAI flying drones that sound like helicopters or fly with sound, without sound completely. That's really invasive, though. I see Stewie May was thanking me for sharing the video. No problem. Rouse said NASA doesn't even get good tech. We have no clue what's out. Understand Conspiracy said 2000 was 18 years ago. Time is just speeding up, I swear. Haha. I mean, it is. I mean, I look back at 2000 and it feels like yesterday. Makes me realize how fast I'm aging, too. And Understand Conspiracy says, I blame CERN. Yeah, maybe CERN is speeding up our time. Like, when I go through these days, sometimes they feel really long, but then in hindsight, I'm thinking, wow, it's already March. Yesterday was January. And I see Nick C said, who wants to close out on a word of prayer at the end? And I'm fine with doing that. And Rouse said, time flies starting from your 30s. And yeah, I mean, I haven't reached 30 yet, but I'm sure if I do reach 30 that time will fly as well. I mean, I'm 23 and time is flying for me at the moment. And Andrew C said, I vote Nick to prayer. Yeah, if you guys like want to write a prayer and I read it back to you, or how you guys want to do that, we can close with prayer. I'm completely fine with that. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God, says CERN is effing with us big time. Yes, they are. It's crazy stuff. And I see Andrew C's replying to Rouse, time flies when you're 21, LOL. I mean, I was 21 almost 3 years ago now, and it does feel like yesterday for sure. And Stu May said, I'm glad time is speeding up. I can be with all of you and Jesus sooner. That's a good way to look at it. Understand conspiracy said, to be honest, I think we're all just been in constant state of survival mode thanks to the agenda. We all suffer under that. We don't have time to actually remember things anymore. And that's probably the case. I mean, it seems like when you're awake and you're aware of this stuff, it's hard to enjoy life the way you used to when you were just thinking, oh, I have to have a job and then get old and retire, marry, do all that stuff. Okay, sorry guys. I'm scrolling up and I see Craig Gaddis said the German chancellor has reptilian eyes. I believe she transgender is fully demonically possessed. I've seen it with my own eyes. She loves to do the pyramid sign with her hands. Baphomet. I mean, there's a lot of Baphomet politicians out there, leaders, or, well, not Baphomet politicians, but I meant reptilian. But I was thinking about the last word of your statement, Craig. And I see that Rouse said, I'm starting my own biz this year to stop contributing to the evil. Congratulations, Rouse. It's nice that you're doing that. I wish more of us had the resources to do so, but I mean, being your own boss is the best thing if you can do it. More power to you. Malibu Beats said, back when I got in trouble, my lawyer had a Freemason ring just like the one Shaquille O'Neal got. Wow, that is craziness. But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, lawyers, doctors, so many of them are bought out, and it's the best way to control society if you have all the people in these professional positions in some form of a secret society. Craig Gaddis said they promote other secret society, Freemason, Satanists to all the positions of power, and our churches to boot. Very true. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Children of God said, Dazzling One, you're very wise for 23. Thank you. Nick C said, these Democrats better not take our guns, just saying. Sorry for the No problem. First Last said, is replying to Nick C, and God is the Alpha and the Omega said, wow, and First Last said, or trying to spark a civil war. And really quick, since Niels asked me to look up Skelder, I will. And because we've been watching kind of long clips, I'm going to watch the second one just to get an idea of what is flying over in Norway, I believe. Looks more like this is a video about it being assembled.
Route power supply. Okay. Three, two, one, go.
Okay, I'm sorry if that was like just like random to everyone. I just picked that video because it was short, but I remember Nils did tell me in a private message, and then I think he said in the chat as well, that they're using that to now monitor his area. And I'm pretty sure seeing it there, we're going to see it here in the United States soon as well. Craig Gaddis said, are they still planning on having a march on Washington March 24th with lots of high school kids? Is this still in the working? I believe it's still in the working from what I heard, but since you asked, let's Google it. If Google will work for me, because technology right today is not on my side. Let me go back and see real fast. March 24th, March. Yep, they're still doing it. And let's go to the site. I'm just curious to read this, guys. So this is the website for the March for Our Lives on March 24th for the high school kids marching against, those who are still selling a lot of these dangerous weapons on the street. On March 24th, the kids and families of March for Our Lives will take to the streets of Washington, D.C. to demand that their lives and safety become a priority and that we end this epidemic of mass school shootings. The collective voice of the March for Our Lives movement will be heard. Join us in D.C. or march in your own community. And guys, I can RSVP to the march or donate. And I'm just going to say no thank you. I mean, they really have a foolproof plan with this one. And to answer your question, Craig, yes, it's still planned. And First Last said 88 to 100 Americans own guns. Interesting. It's an interesting stat. Hi, Ashley M. And I see that. She said, we have a neighbor that's a 33rd degree Mason. We're just building a house and moving in this summer. It's very interesting. I mean, Masons are everywhere. It's interesting how we talk about Freemasonry, but then most of us probably know a Freemason, whether we know they're a Mason or not. And then you know when to look for the indicators. But that's one thing I've learned, especially even as I'm looking for jobs or meeting people, is a lot of influential people or people come in contact with business owners, or they're Freemasons, or they were part of some form of an organization. And much of it starts at a young age. I mean, even I'm really interested in the subject of class, and that's probably one of the reasons why I chose to switch from biology to a subject like sociology, because I'm interested in society in general. And in studying class, I see that this whole idea of these little organizations and social groups, they start at a very young age for some people. Some people put their kids in little groups, and then as they get older, they join more societies. And this keeps them in power, and it consolidates power as well. And Stewie May said, anybody heard about the boycott of YouTube plan for the 1st of April? No, I haven't heard about it. Is it to protest the fact that YouTube is doing a lot of small creators dirty because of the actions of Logan Paul, and because they're finding any excuse to purge YouTube of many truther channels? I saw recently through, I think it's Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, that Black Child lost his channel. I had no clue that happened, but I've been noticing more truthers are losing their channel. I remember one of you brought up in chat that Enter the Stars lost his channel, and there's many others that are constantly taken down because of this censorship. And just what we're allowed to say, what we're not allowed to say, and this whole safe mode, it's just one huge disaster. And I'm glad more people are taking up more platforms to go to. But I'll definitely have to check DTube out, and some of these other ones that I hear people recommending. I don't have a minds.com account or that, but I have moved my videos to places like Steemit. I did have a VidMe account. It was a cool platform, but apparently it went out of business back in December. Stewie May said, it's legit. Do you know if it's April Fool's Day? I mean, it is April Fool's Day, so it could be a prank, but I don't know. I mean, if we all collectively boycotted YouTube and we could get enough people, we could really hurt them for a day, for sure. Understand Conspiracy said YouTube will not crumble if it's boycotted for one day. We need a mass migration to a new platform to have that impact at all. And that's a good point because, I mean, one day hurts them, but if we all left to go somewhere else that treated content creators fair, that is probably one of the only ways that they would hurt. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Children of God said, I'm not participating in the boycott, probably as April Fool's joke. And I see she's replying to Stewie May. First Last said they want mass migration to wall us up so new eyes don't have access to our info. Mass migration, a new site for truth news, alt media, etc. Interesting. Stewie May said, and he's replying to God is the Alpha, and I see Understand Conspiracy said, yet most channels who show useless garbage get hundreds of millions of subs. Truthers only get 1 million if extremely lucky. Yes, I agree with you there. I mean, I look at a lot of these like major YouTubers, and you know, this is no hate on them, but it is a good observation out there. I mean, they put out videos where they're just doing like nothing or like just acting crazy, and they have millions of subs. And you see truthers who work really hard and they manage to get 1 million, like you said, if they're lucky. Most probably only a few thousand, you know, the big names, a few 100,000. And, you know, I have mixed feelings about all this because I agree that YouTube would be hurt if there was a mass migration. The problem is, though, we would need enough people, even outside of the truth community, to mass migrate, because what could happen as well is if we all just left and then they had everybody else still on YouTube, they would finally have achieved what they wanted. They would have gotten rid of all truth off of YouTube. And a lot of people who aren't interested in conspiracies do sometimes stumble into these sections and they begin learning. So I kind of have mixed views on that, and I do think YouTube should pay for kind of what they're doing to us, but I also think that they kind of want to get us off of YouTube because they know that then they don't have to worry about censoring us anymore. Gigi said, that just reminds me about all the planes, jets I heard going over this afternoon had to be at least 4. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, a lot of these crafts flying over, and that's like kind of what happened to me this weekend. Hi, Getty Shinixan, and I'm sorry if I'm saying like butchering your name, and I see that they said, right, it's about mass shift in consciousness, not a shift to a different platform. When they come to you with a hate speech and stuff, like, it doesn't matter which platform you're on. And I mean, yeah, that is kind of the case too, because the problem with even just mass movement of anything is that, I mean, what I'm learning, and this is kind of a terrible thing, is that even like going back to the golden days of YouTube, and even when there were fewer truther channels, including, you know, before I came on the scene and others after me and during the time I came on the scene, whenever you have people who break away to do their own thing, I think often you have something really good, but after a while, when you get so many different people coming in with different views, usually what happens is they do develop a kind of one way of thinking, and again, they gatekeep, keep some people out, let some people in, and then they send in disinformation agents and all. And I think that's kind of like what's even happened, not just with the truth community, but even if we look at kind of like those who consider themselves like Christian truthers, is I remember coming on YouTube and a lot of people who were making videos to minister were not a part of a church. Some of them had online ministries, and they talked and spoke out against things like the 501c3 and the censorship of what could be taught in church. And you're getting a lot of good messages, but over time, a lot of these ministries, either the people changed because their followings grew bigger and it got to their head, or somebody exposed them for having some kind of double life, or somebody was fake to begin with, and just there's a lot of slandering going on. We started to see that a lot of people who were online ministers and doing online Christian videos were no different sometimes than the churches. And you kind of find that sometimes even within the truth community with alternative news. We had a lot of good alternative news sources, but then again, you get disinformation agents. Some people get prideful, they get bought out, whatever the case is, and they also fall prey to a lot of the same tactics of the mainstream media. So there's always going to be that issue, I think, but I do like the fact that people do try to branch away and figure out something else to do. And I'm sorry, guys, that I'm just like talking your heads off probably, but let me go back into the chat real fast and see what I missed. Hi, Deb Jones, and I see that she said April Fool's Day canceled due to a clash with the pagan fertility festival called Easter. Interesting. No, but I see what you're saying. I mean, Easter is a pagan holiday, but most people don't see it that way because of, the whole Christianizing of pagan religions by the Catholic Church. I see Craig Anna said, yikes, a frowny face. Stewie May said, an apple drop Easter holidays. An apple drop Easter holidays. Is that like some kind of product or advertisement? Understand Conspiracy said, I see the forced migration as the perfect way of cutting us from the masses. We need to be where their lost are, and that's YouTube, it seems. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's reverse psychology, because I get the feeling of like, I want to be treated better. We deserve better treatment. But if we all leave, all the trash videos are left on YouTube. All of the kids that come to YouTube and older people are just going to never find our videos. And then it's just going to be what they always wanted. So YouTube, some of us, I think a lot of us should stay here. And it's not to say that we can't spread our work to other platforms. We just need to be mindful, because they are trying to purge us off YouTube. And I'm going to always keep my foot down on YouTube as long as I can do it. And even if I don't get anything or I get strikes, but I will explore other options out there. Stewie May said, yes, protest the purge. Nick C said, Dazz, what do you plan on doing after school? Just curious. If you're uncomfortable answering, that's understandable. What do I plan doing like after I graduate school? Well, it's kind of hard to answer that question. I'm kind of undecided. I'm one of those people that's about to graduate in a couple of months, and I'm not entirely sure. I want to do something that deals with people, and the good news is, with having done biology and sociology, I have a lot of training to go into something of that nature. I guess I don't want to go too much into detail, but I have looked into a lot of different areas related to everything from healthcare to law to policy. And I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to go too in depth, just because I don't know who may stumble across or listen and figure out who I am. And like by the end of this month or by the beginning of next month, I'm planning on coming out anyways and showing my face to talk about the things, like some of the novels I've written, and that's going to be nerve-wracking within itself. So maybe I can talk more about that later on. Craig Anna said, our Congress and House of Representatives are now controlled by higher-ups telling them what to do, or else. Doesn't look good in the future for our Second Amendment. I agree with you there. Understanding Conspiracy said, obviously we're being cut to shreds by extreme left-wing satanic mods on YouTube at the moment. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, the YouTube heroes flagging people. Craig Gaddis said, look at history. Those countries that unarmed the people, millions of people were killed, especially Christians. Andrew C. said, left-wing demons. You guys are just making me laugh at these left-wing comments. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Children of God said, Dazzling One, what was your favorite video you made? That's a really good question. I honestly always will have a love for the first video that I put out there, but for some reason I liked making the video The Cult Mentality of the Masses. It didn't amass as many views as like most of the videos, but I don't know why. I have a peculiar interest in cults and like groups and group dynamics and power dynamics, and I do look at the way society's run by the elite and the way we're programmed to follow them or else and never question, and their methods of social control like a cult. So that is one of my favorite videos for sure. But you know, it's funny, the videos I'm always crazy about, like, I love this subject. It seems like maybe 300 people tops. Maybe if I get really blessed, maybe like 2,000 people like it, like watch it, and it gets like maybe a few hundred views. And then videos that I'm like, you know, this is okay, or I don't really know. Those are the videos that they'll get so many views. Rouse said, there's so many Mason lodges in every town. Most members don't believe or know about the depth. They think it's 3 degrees tops. Wow. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of lodges everywhere. And so many people outside of lodges don't know much about what goes on there. Gigi said, someone mentioned DTube and Steemit. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people say they're making the move to those two. I've set up a Steemit account. I even set up a DTube account, but I'm so bad with technology. I don't know how to upload to DTube, and it's going to take hours to transfer all of these videos over, and I'm just like, is it even worth it? And it's all run by like the some type of blockchain currency that you get, and I just don't know. I mean, I sometimes feel like by signing up for all of these sites, I am playing into their hands on one side, because it's like, who really owns these sites? They're saying these are created by independent people, but I don't know, these aren't independent contractors who are parts of secret societies, and they're just buying out space for us so we can all leave YouTube. But I also do kind of want to be able to spread the videos and reach people. And I see that Getty Shinaskan said, just check out the starting page of YouTube and you know what they want us to see. So true. I mean, even looking at the trending, it's like vomit content, really it is. It's just a bunch of crazy stuff. Stewie May said, I have DTube and BitChute, but I'm weird because they all involve cryptocurrencies. Yeah, this whole idea of like, let's all go use cryptocurrencies. And what's funny is that they're buying out like everybody in the truth movement and alternative media. It's like, we're the people that have been talking about the beast system and about the one world currency, and yet it's these group of people who are saying F you to the system, who are going to probably be the first ones to join in to that currency, because they're trying to, you know, stick it to the system. So, I mean, I think the idea of cryptocurrency is interesting, but I do think it is leading in that direction. Understand Conspiracy said, I haven't found a monetizable video in a year. This stops most channels, but I don't care about the money, so it's fine for me. But most give up after, which is a shame. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Understand Conspiracy. It's like, it's sad because when there was no money to be made on YouTube, you had people putting out really amazing content and they weren't getting paid a single penny. And now you have people who found out you can make money from YouTube, even if it's like $2 in a year, and they just care more about the money and they leave. And when I got on YouTube, I had no clue you could make money. And when I was doing videos, I did not know that I could monetize anything. And I finally found out because I was contacted and told, oh, you can be a partner and you can make money. And I honestly didn't think I'd make any money. And I made some money. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't make any money. Nothing compared to anyone who's rich or anything, like a couple $100 here and there. But for me, it's always been about just putting out the truth and doing what I love. And sadly, so many people, they stop right there. And I'm so thankful, Paul, that you're one of those channels that's going to stick it out regardless of how much money you do or don't get. And I see everyone's talking about how many subscribers they have. And sorry, guys, if I'm like talking. I know it's a stream where I'm supposed to talk, but I still feel like I run my mouth too much. Let me go back up because I scrolled away. Nick C said right wing are much more godly, though, at least. Getty Shiniscan said, don't worry, the name's already butchered German wordplay. Yeah, I'm terrible when it comes to names and pronouncing them aloud. I feel like I'm always butchering a name, even sometimes in English. And I see you guys are all subbing to each other. That's really nice, though. I like how tightly knit everyone is in this chat. Nick C said the moment you were supposed to get some dorm snacks, but Dazzling One's chat comes on. Oh, thanks. I mean, don't hold back. Go get your dorm snacks. I mean, it's always nice to have something to eat. Gigi said, love to hear you talk, so talk away. Thanks. And God is the Alpha and the Omega. Children of God said Ishtar is Easter, right, guys? Yep. I wish more people knew that. And you try to tell them, and they look at you like you're one of those psychos when you try bringing that up. First Last said, just found out Yash Cross still broadcasting, just not on YouTube. Interesting. I didn't even know he left YouTube. Rao said April 1st and the night before is the real New Year. Are you talking about Passover? Because, yeah, Passover is at the end of March. And I'm guessing that you celebrate Passover, you celebrate New Year's at the Passover date, rather than how modern Judaism celebrates it in September or the fall. But yeah, happy late Purim for those who celebrate it, and we're headed toward Passover next, which I'm really excited for. And Gigi said, okay, you guys are talking to each other about your videos, but it's good to see you all connecting there. And Understand Conspiracy said, in fact, I'm sure YouTube hired 10,000 mods to monitor hate speech last December. Now channels who tell the truth are being shut down in mass. Yes, they really are mass shutting down channels. And I talked to Games Exposed off air a couple of times, and me and him were talking about the upcoming censorship. And he was making jokes about like how maybe it would be good if some of us decided to make videos. Like he was talking about making videos that were silly, but then throwing bits of truth into them so they could not detect always what we were doing. And I see what he's saying. And, you know, there does need to be some boldness in telling the truth, but I also understand that method of getting people to click on your video and then, you know, making sure that somehow you can beat out the algorithms. But the problem is the 10,000 mods and the AI. They just have to hear that one word out of your lips and they can shut it down. Nils Addison said, Dean Odell is only YouTube ministry that believes in flat earth. He has very good sermons, I think. Interesting. I've never heard of him before. And you're right. I mean, I don't know of many ministers on YouTube who do believe in flat earth. Now that you mention it, Nils. Stewie May said, if you're uploading truth videos to YouTube, make sure you mirror them from your own platform as backup. It's good advice. Craig Gaddis said, Dean Odell doesn't talk about the blatant, obvious Bible changes. Something is not right with him, and he claims to read from the KJV. I mean, I don't know anything about him, so I'm not going to comment on who's a false prophet or who's a real prophet, I should say. And God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God said, dazzling one, cannot wait to see you and get your work. Congratulations, lady. Thank you. It's going to, like I said, be nerve-wracking when I show my face, guys, honestly. And it'll be nerve-wracking to release something to the world that I've sat on for like 5 years. But thank you, everyone who does support my work or even just choose to read it. And I see that God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God also said, dazzling one, thanks. I better check that one out. I found your channel through KJ of the Scariest Movie Ever on YouTube. Yeah, KJ, I mean, he really helped me out. And this is the irony of bringing KJ up today, since I have really good memory of dates. I said last week was the anniversary of the first upload, and it was. But then like a week later, he managed to coincidentally upload my video that I had put out a 3-part series of onto his channel because I had asked him if he liked my content to share it, and he did just that. And because he shared it, that's how many of you guys found me early on, and then people have found me later on, or even just having enough numbers so people could find me had a lot to do with him sharing it. So today was the day that he did share it, which is kind of weird that I have a really good memory of that. But yeah, I'm so thankful to channels like his, or even, you know, later on I had other bigger channels that featured my work on theirs, like Truth Media Revolution also did that, which I think he's now Truth Films Production. But anytime any channel is able to share your work, whether they have a million subs or 100 subs, it's always nice because it gives you more exposure. Stewie May said, dazzling one, you're awesome. 2 books. Wow, can't wait. Respect. Thank you. And I see Gigi said, true, could be a setup. First Last said, DTube has whales that censor content. Push it down, make it unseeable. Not all are down with the truth on here. on there. And see, I had no idea. I don't even use DTube. I just made an account because everybody's like, go get DTube, get on Minds.com. And honestly, when Minds came out, I was just a little skeptical. I don't know why. It's kind of like Gab. Like, I don't have Gab. And I'm really careful about joining a lot of these sites because sometimes really controversial people get into these sites, and if something goes down, I don't want to be tied to those people. So that's another reason why I'm careful not to just sign up for everything that's labeled like a alternative to the mainstream platforms as well. But the fact that they're pushing down certain content as unseeable is already very suspect. Gigi said, speaking of which, when I logged on, it told me our chat would be up for people to see after it downloaded, and I didn't see it earlier. Are you talking about DTube or YouTube? Gigi. And Craig Gaddis said, George Orwell's book 1984 is really playing out today. They are rewriting and scripting the news and history and hiding the truth. Ashley M. said, for some reason, every time I get to almost the bottom of the chat, it completely goes up. The Methodist Church in our area is starting to put in statues like the Catholic Church. Oh my, that's terrible. I mean, it's sad to see a lot of just churches, giving into a lot of this paganism and idolatry. First, last, they make a couple $100,000. Niels Otteson said, cryptocurrency is the beast system. Stay away from it. It's a trap. And see, that's what I sort of think too. When I first heard about it, I thought it was kind of cool. But it just seems so weird that, they're really pushing it. And the thing that's really bothering me about all of this is it seems like they're going to use those who are awake to really spearhead it. It's not even going to be the people that we call asleep. I mean, how crazy is it if you have the truthers, the alternative media, even some truther Christians who go and they're the first users of cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency leads to the beast system, and they believe they're doing it to go against the system. You just have to be so careful. Andrew C. said, what's crazy? Deception or propaganda is actually legal in mainstream media in the U.S., I heard. Yeah, I did hear somewhere that propaganda is actually illegal. And even the words fake news, it's like when you start saying things are fake and news, you're basically saying that news can only come from certain sources. So even this concept of fake news, I really hate the words fake news. I'm tired of hearing them out of people's mouths. I mean, it's just a way to discredit and keep people believing certain things, and they really are propaganda machine, the mainstream media, who's supposed to be the fourth estate to check the government, but in many ways it's helping to uphold the power of the government. Gigi said, I think they changed everything in 2013 so news could lie. Is that when that came out? And I'm not too surprised. And I see Ghazi Alpha and the Omega Children of God said, I love Yash. Yeah, he has some really interesting work. Understand Conspiracy said, yeah, state-sponsored content is legal in the norm in America, and they don't have to tell you either. It really is disheartening that this is all happening. Meanwhile, they're able to push propaganda, but then they're telling you about fake news. It's so twisted. And see, that's the thing, too, is so much of this war is not only over our minds, but over language. And when they get us to say and speak certain things, it changes everything as well. And they control the discourse or the way in which things are spoken of. So in order to speak on an issue, even to go on a platform, like a mainstream platform, they set the discourse. And if you go outside of it, then you're mocked or ridiculed or you're cut off air. And we see this all the time. And it seems like on YouTube, that's what they're doing too, is they're controlling the discourse that we can talk about, we can use for certain issues. Like, for instance, all the truthers who are coming out and calling what happened in Florida a false flag or a hoax, they're not allowed to challenge the discourse that it actually happened and that gun control needs to happen. If you have a different viewpoint and you're coming from another standpoint to begin with, you're completely knocked out. You're completely muted out or stricken down, and that's exactly what they're doing with our words and controlling the way in which we talk about things. And they claim that they're all about truth, they're all about fact-checking, but really they're more about control and keeping the power in certain people's hands. And I see Sue May said yes, law changed so they can legally lie. God is the Alpha and the Omega children of God said Black Child just got axed. They're Black Matrix now. A call for an uprising is fire rises. Now Richie from Boston is back too. I did not know that Richie from Boston or a call from uprising got taken down. But wow, those are some big channels, and it's like they're trying to wipe them off the map just as fast as they can. And I see that Malibu Beat said I'll definitely buy your book. Thank you. Thank you everyone who takes the time to do it. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. When it does come out, I'm going to try to put it out as cheap as possible, like 99 cents on ebook downloads, because I know that for a new author in general, most people aren't going to pay a lot of money. Most people don't even read books anymore, to be honest with you. And for me, it's not about money. I just want to be able to spread the message of the books as much as I can. But like I said, regardless whether you buy the books or you don't, whether you read them or not, I'm just happy that you guys support the videos. And I see that Gigi said he actually lives about 30 miles from me. I think she's talking to someone else in the chat. And Sui May said, a call from an uprising. I'm wary. He is so angry, true but angry. I mean, a lot of people have commented on his fiery nature. And I used to watch a lot of his videos like maybe a year ago when I had more time to spare. Now that I have to read like hundreds of pages a week, I don't have time to watch as many videos as I like to. But I mean, he does have a pretty fiery temper. And I'm not saying everyone who's like really passionate, you can't trust them. But I am also wary of people that are quick to anger as well. Sister Joy, hi Sister Joy. And I see that she said Pastor Charles Lawson is Flat Earth KJV and he has fantastic sermons. I'll have to check him out too. I mean, I don't know too many Flat Earth pastors, but it's good that you guys are throwing out some that do actually bring it up. And I see God is the Alpha and the Omega children of God is congratulating me on the anniversary upload. Thank you. And Andrew C. said Charles Lawson needs to chill sometimes, always yelling and screaming when he preaches a lot of times, actually. You guys really are talking about those who like to shout and scream. I don't know, like, I grew up in the church to begin with, like in the regular church, and I saw everything from, calm preacher, self-help type preacher to like that charismatic, screaming into the mic kind of pastor. And I know some of it's theatrics, some of it is passion, I don't know. And I know we're all different personality-wise, and I've never listened to Charles Lawson, so I don't know, but sorry guys, you guys make me laugh sometimes with everything you say. And I see Gigi said when I logged into this chat. Interesting that happened. Sometimes these chats on Google are just weird. I don't know why. And hi, Jason Barrett. Hi, Eddie Forehand. Stewie May said, so true. Remember, chemtrails meant instant nut job. Exactly. Like, literally, when it comes to discussing chemtrails, you get shut down because the mainstream narrative, the discourse for it is that they're contrails. So as soon as you say chemtrails, it's like, can't listen to it anymore. It's just, a contrail. And it's so frustrating. But that's the way that they shut us out, is through manipulating language and controlling the way in which we can talk about things. And that's why I love the Truth Movement, because we said, we're not just going to talk about things the way you tell us to. We don't really care if you think we're crazy. And through doing so, more people have linked up together who also are deemed crazy. And I guess we formed a group of people that are considered crazy to the mainstream narrative. And I think that's why they had to hurry up and come out with fake news and start making us believe that there's a such thing as fake news, when in reality, they're able to legally lie to us and use propaganda. I see that Deb Jones says it's imperative to know about the Admiralty Law. Yes, it is. Rouse said a call from an uprising is a good channel. Nick C said a call from an uprising is a mean guy. Rouse said he's a little hostile but good content. I mean, we all have our different views on different people that make videos, and like I said, I'm never going to tell you guys who to watch or who not to watch unless, like, I see them doing something really sickening. but everyone has their method, their personality, and as long as they're getting the message out there and they're not leading anyone astray, and that's kind of how I look at it. And I see that Getty Shiniksan said, between you and me, there was actually some people here in Berlin who put up an ad bill to point out the chemtrails years ago. Couldn't believe it. Saw it just once. That's amazing. Good for them. I'm so glad they were able to do that. I mean, if you're able to take the money and do so, and you're able to get the truth out that way, I commend you for that. It's like so many of us who would love to do something like that. We don't have the money, or maybe we need to fundraise or get some donations for that to do such a thing, but that's a way to advertise the truth. Malibu Beat said, it would be cool if you read your book in audio form so I can listen to it on the go and gym. That's actually a funny idea. I remember, he's not in the chat, but Field Marshal Nay, I just remember that week when I was doing Q&A, he kept telling me about being an audiobook reader, and I've had other people tell me that too. I honestly feel like I make too many mistakes to do an audiobook, but if I ever had the time to sit down and read 300 plus pages of my own work and not sound monotone, because I feel like I sound monotone and people sometimes equate my voice to like a robot. So, and you're willing to listen to it, then I'd be happy to read the book for you. But I'd have to figure out how to do that since I'm an indie author. I'm not going through any mainstream book publisher. Oh, I see Gigi saying KJ lives not too far from me. Oh, that's really cool. Tell KJ that I said hi. That sounds kind of creepy, but yeah, that's interesting. And Craig Gaddis said, Richie from Boston had to say on his video after being taken down that he wasn't sure if anyone was killed in the Florida school hoax. I'm suspicious of RFB for this, and they removed his videos. That is interesting, Craig. God is the Alpha and the Omega, Children of God said, I'm excited about your book, Dazzling One. Have not been excited to read anything for months. Oh, you guys are making me chuckle with this. And Understand Conspiracy said, don't sell yourself short, Dazzling. At least charge $4.99. Most would pay $9.99. Trust me, people judge the quality on the price. When not, it comes to art and want to pay more than less. I mean, if people are willing to do it, I just want it to be nice at least the first week or month, because I know a lot of people don't want to take chances with like new material. But it's all up to you guys. I mean, you definitely have to, I try to think very critically, I guess, about how to market, because I think about how like I would view a new author that I've never read. And with me being a self-published person, it makes it a little harder because I had to pay a bunch of people to edit the book since I couldn't go through a regular publishing house. And I see First Last said, got Jordan Peterson's new book. We'll definitely get yours as well. Thanks, guys. And Understand Conspiracy said, weird, but it's just the way people's minds work when buying artwork. I mean, I see the point you're making. It's kind of like YouTube, sadly. It's like getting subscribers is so important even to views, because it's like if they see someone who has like 1 million subscribers making a video versus someone with 10, they automatically assume that the person with 1 million subscribers has better work than the people with 100, or 10, even if it's not true. Same with views. But the problem is you have to get views to get more views. And it's hard to get views when you're a new person and everything on YouTube is saturated and there's a lot of censorship. And I see Nick C said Jordan Peterson on OG Conservative Psychologist. And Gigi said love Jordan Peterson. Sorry guys if I'm scrolling past some of your comments on the chat. And I see Stewie May said, anyone seen the O2 advert called Follow the Rabbit Illuminati? Yuck. No, I've not seen that person or video or whatever that is. And First Last said the English language is black magic spell casting. It does. I mean, I did a video about the etymology of words and spells because I learned about that and I found it interesting, and I totally agree with you. It's like everything in English is related to magic. I mean, grammar, grimoire, spelling, casting a spell, sentences, sentencing someone to life in prison, days. You could go on for days talking about the English language and how it's related to black magic spell casting. And even the fact that when we think about how the cradle of civilization is over like in the Middle East or Northeastern Africa, and many of these civilizations, they wrote right to left and they read right to left. But here with English, being in the Western Hemisphere, it's left to right, it's the reverse. So I find it all very interesting. And sometimes it makes me wonder, do people with dyslexia, are they really the ones with the disorder? Or are we the ones who have been trained to conform? And I see Getty Shiniscan said, or the transgender ad by AXA. Well, something's happening to my internet. Hopefully it doesn't close out this tab. Sorry, guys. And I see Sister Joy said another great YouTube ministry is Unplug Him. He does live streams late night Wednesday and Saturday from Detroit. Yeah, I like his work as well. I haven't watched him in a while, but from the videos that he's put out, I really like his work. First Last said it's a fragmented, confusing, low-grade communication mechanism in the English language. Nick C said Christian philosopher William Lane Craig is my hero. Y'all look him up. He's awesome. And First Last said unplug him. He's an amazing teacher. Understand Conspiracy said, seriously, everyone reading this, would you pay 10, and I'm guessing he's saying euros, for Dazzling's book? I'm really bad with dollar signs outside of the dollar. Oh, you're surveying for me, Paul. Thanks. Craig Addis said geoengineering chemtrails sounds like they're doing something good for the environment. Dane Wingington, and I keep on scrolling every time I get there, says using the term chemtrails hurts the cause. That is bullcrap. Don't sugarcoat this evil. Well, I mean, Craig, I see what he's saying, because he realizes he got to lure in some of the skeptics, because it's like if you go up to a skeptic or someone who believes everyone is a conspiratard, and you say chemtrail, they're automatically just going to start laughing or like get angry at you and stomp their feet. But if you say geoengineering, it's like they have more credibility. I think it depends on your audience. I think if you're talking to a bunch of skeptics and people who believe only what institutions put out, use the word geoengineering. But if you're talking to someone on the street and they don't really care, I think chemtrail is perfectly fine. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's how I look at it. Andrew C. said William Lane Craig is next level genius. God is the Alpha and the Omega, children of God said understand conspiracy. I'm in Canada. I paid $30 plus, no doubt. Thanks, guys. I mean, I see Gigi said, I've never met him, just heard town. And I see that, and I'm guessing, I don't know if that's in relation to KJ or to some of the people we've brought up. And Gigi said I would go 15. Rao said, have y'all heard Stevie Wonder can see Ray Charles witnessed it? Interesting. Gigi said it's not expensive, but enough to think, I want that. And I see that Understand Conspiracy said 15 seems like the right amount to me too. I mean, if you guys are willing to pay that, I really like, I guess I'm someone who thinks, well, people are going to want something as cheap as it comes, but I also understand that a lot of people do think that 99 cents could equal poorly written as well, or not worth it. But if you guys would do that, then I'd be very thankful. Like I said, it doesn't really matter to me if you buy the book or you never buy it. I'm still always happy with you guys. So that's that. But I see Craig Gaddis said, I am a faster talker than typist Dazzling. I can't talk 240 words per minute and only type 40 words per minute. I mean, if you could talk 240 words per minute and we could understand you, I'd say that you are an superhuman or freak of nature, either way you look at it. And I see Nick C said, who's going to volunteer to close out in prayer? That's true. It is about time. It's like 9 minutes till. Time's been going by so fast talking to you guys and reading your comments that I haven't been keeping track of the actual time itself. Ashley M said, my sister has 2 books partially written and never finished. You got too busy with her photography school and photography business. I wish you would finish them. I mean, it is difficult finishing up books for sure, Ashley M, and it does take time. And even after you finish it, all the editing that goes into it. I mean, for me being a fiction writer, it's even not just grammar. It's can people actually see what's happening on the page? And the more fantasy it is, the harder it is to make people see it. And then you just have to accept that some people are going to think that your fantasy world isn't great, or your world building is weak, or your characters aren't that amazing, or maybe they will. But you never know. And I see that Stewie May said O2 is the main cell network in the UK. Goddess the Alpha and the Omega Children of God said, I love the etymology video, Dazzling One. Wicket, thanks. Craig Gaddis said, by the way, this is a great group of people tonight. I totally agree with you, Craig. Getty Shaniscan said, I found a picture of the chemtrail ad, but I cannot add links. For some reason, sometimes that happens in the chat. If after the show, like whenever it posts, if you want to put a link in the comment section, because Google deletes all of the chat comments after the show, we can do that. Andrew C said, Dazzling One MVP chat host. Oh, thanks. And I see that Rouse had agreed chat was actually readable and stream understandable. Rare. I mean, it has been a great group of people in the chat. And a lot of interesting topics as well have been brought up. And no one really has to do a lot of moderation work because nobody's fighting or putting anything inappropriate in the chat. And I see Rouse said, y'all be blessed and create some smiles this week. Craig Gaddis said, geoengineering, Dazzling the sheep. Do not possibly believe that our own government would hurt their own people. Sad but true. I was fooled for a long time. I mean, a lot of people don't. And it's sad that, they can't comprehend the idea. But I think sometimes people just would rather believe that the government isn't bad. It just has people that are ignorant or, they care, but for whatever reason, they can't do too much. It's all about money. Edward Tam said, have you heard of Space Weapon, the Rod of God? No, I haven't, but I'll need to look into that before sometime. I'll have to write it down or re-listen to this stream and get it, or you can just put it in the comment section after the stream. And hi, Terry Jackson. Gigi said, nice, I just knocked myself out of the chat with subbing to someone that was suggested. Andrew C said $5 to $10 for your book would be suffice. Terry Jackson said, does anyone have dreams? I'm sure we all have dreams, but everything, I would talk more about that, but we got like 6 minutes tops. And sorry guys, I'm trying to get to some of your comments that I can read within the next 5 minutes. And I see First Laugh said had deja vu during this too. And Terry Jackson says, I know I keep having them. Deja vus are always crazy when you have like an experience of it. And I see Understanding Conspiracy said, I did a stream on dreams last week too, might help you. And I believe he's replying to Terry Jackson. I still need to watch your stream on dreams, Paul. I need to add it to like my watch laters, but thank you again for coming on last week as well and chatting for that period of time, as well as you, Craig. And I don't see Ronnie here from the Limitless channel, but it was a good talk. But I'll have to check yours out. Dreams are a great topic of discussion always. And I see Stewie May said, I love Monday night chats. Niels Addison said, time flies when you're when listening to you, Dazzling One, enjoying the radio voice you have. Well, thanks, guys. Terry Jackson said, dreamed about being chased by a red dragon. That is a really fascinating dream. And somebody actually messaged me in an email about a dream they had about a red dragon. And I found that interesting because I've dreamt about a red dragon. I know red dragons are in the Bible, so what does it mean if some of us are all dreaming about red dragons? Stewie May said, it's 3 in the morning, but hey, Dazz, it's worth it. Well, thanks for staying up till 3 and listening. And I see Craig Addis said, people think when I have caps lock that I'm shouting, just trying to share an important message to all, peace and love. And Andrew C. said, Satan is referred to as the red dragon. That's very true. All right, guys. Does anyone want to close out in prayer and writing? Or do you guys want me to pray? I don't usually pray formally. Like, every time I pray, it's really simple. It's very short and sweet, but I can do the praying if you want. But maybe another time we can talk about red dragons, because it is an interesting topic. And I see that Andrew C. says Nick does. Okay, well, if Nick wants to, like, write it out and you want me to read it, I can do that. And I see he said, chill, I'm scared. And Craig Gaddis says, pray, Dazz. Okay, guys. I guess... And I see that God's the Alpha and the Omega Children of God said, sure, dazzling one. Okay, guys, I'll pray if you want me to, but I always feel self-conscious about praying publicly because I don't have anything formal. I'm just going to pray. So, Father, I thank you so much for another wonderful Monday night chat with everyone, and thank you for us being able to have a fluid conversation without any conflict. I pray that over this week that I'm not able to stream, that everyone would have a wonderful week and that they would have their needs fulfilled and they would move closer to you as well. And I pray when we pick up again in another 2 weeks that we'd have a wonderful chat. And thank you again for everything and all that you do. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. All right, guys, that was my prayer. And I guess I'm not a formal praying person. Like, I pray all the time, but it's not going to sound anything like it does probably in a church setting. So thank you guys all again, and I'll talk to you 2 Mondays from now because I'm not going to be in town, so I'm going to miss you guys for that week off. But thank you again for chatting with me, and it really was amazing tonight. And make sure to check out this coming Wednesday's video. Take care, and God bless.